Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, Mars Phone Barnsey, and I've got a really good video for you today. There's quite a lot in this image, so I'll try and keep it as short as possible, but if I go on a little bit longer than what I should really do, you will have to forgive me, because I don't want to just show you little bits and pieces. I want to try and explain to you exactly what I've discovered here, because I happen to think that what I'm about to show you is most probably one of the clearest human faces that you will ever see on the planet Mars. I personally have not seen an image of a face or a sculpture on Mars showing a human being as clear as what I'm about to show you. It's I personally love this image. It's brilliant. It shows a human being, and in my view it's that clear that you can actually see that it's a black African. So for me, this vindicates some of the black African mythology that has said for many thousands of years that a lot of black Africans said that they actually come from Mars, and this may be the evidence or the proof that the mythology is somehow correct. I mean, I don't really want to go into the details of that. If you want to Google it, you can do. I'm just going to show you the evidence that I've got that convinces me that human beings lived on Mars at some time in its distant past. We can even ask questions such as, are human beings from Mars? Or did an advanced civilization on the Earth at some time in its distant past colonise Mars? That's how important I think this image and other images that I've seen, that's how important I think they are, because we can now actually start asking questions about human history, and one of those questions must be the correct question. If this image is true, if this image actually shows you what I think it shows. Before we carry on, I tried to find some technical information on this image. I've had this image since about 2015. It's just been on my hard drive with a lot of other stuff that I've got, and because I decided to show it on YouTube, I tried to get some technical information on it, a little bit more than what I had. And this is actually an image that I downloaded from the European Space Agency main webpage, the main hub, and it's actually being controlled by the Free University of Berlin, by a guy called Dr. Newcomb. He seems to control these images in some fashion. Now, when I went to the European Space Agency webpage, for whatever reason I could not find this image anywhere. Its actual full title is South of Minao Vallis. I think that's the way you pronounce it. My Latin isn't brilliant, so I apologise for that. But I couldn't find the image to get the ID tag, the ID number. I mean, I've got loads of copies of this, and as you can see, there's the official reference there, but I couldn't find the original image on the European Space Agency webpage for whatever reason. I don't know why it's not there. It could be temporarily not available. I could have missed it. I could have overlooked it, but I spent a little bit of time looking for it and I couldn't find it. I actually got the technical details that I did from the Free University of Berlin webpage from the Department of Earth Sciences, and I'll put a link in the bottom for you so that you can go there and have a look at the technical specifications and everything else, and you should be able to download the image, which if you're serious about this, I would strongly recommend that you go and download the image. And any images that I might show on this channel, I strongly recommend that you go away and you have a look at them yourselves. Don't take my word for it. I don't expect you to take my word, because it's a very controversial subject. It's a subject that even now I still struggle to come to terms with, even though I've got the images and I'm going to show you some controversial things now. I struggle to come to terms with what I feel that I've discovered, and there's plenty of other people there that have found structures and sculptures and absolutely convinced that there was a civilization on Mars. But I happen to believe that the civilization that was on Mars was a human civilization. I found that much evidence pointing towards human beings having lived and existed on the red planet sometime in the past. I can't even give you a time frame. I know it's within 60 million years. I know that sounds daft, but that's because of some of the animal sculptures that I've seen represent some animals that we know have been on the earth for 60 million years. So anyway, without further ado, I'd like to show you what I've discovered, and it's actually in this region here. Like I said before, this image was originally downloaded from the European Space Agency. It's a TIFF, which is about the best type of downloadable image that you can get. It's much better than a JPEG. There's not, you shouldn't find any artifacts or noise in these images, supposedly. You know, as you can see, it's very, very heavily orange saturated and red, and believe me, they do that for a reason. They do that so that we cannot see the details in the picture. When we go in, it's very, very difficult to see any details within these pictures. You've got to change the levels, you've got to change the colours, the contrast, the brightness, to get any sort of technical detail or that data out of this image. You've got to change it. As it stands, there's nothing. It's just that orange blob, in my view, with no scientific data, you know, worthy of looking at, and that's my personal opinion as it stands, because it's so saturated with colours. So we do have to change the image a little tiny bit. Anyway, this is the area here. It's south of Miniovalis, and it was taken by the Mars Express orbiter, and it's got the HRSC camera on it, high resolution stereo camera, or science camera as some people say, and it was taken at 16 meters per pixel, which will roughly be about 60 or 70 feet for every pixel. It's each pixel is 60 or 70 feet roughly. You know, I'm sure some people who are better at maths than me can work it out a little bit better. But anyway, so back to this area now. So what I'm going to do is just put it up by 100% and just center the area of interest. Now the main face is there. We can, you know, people with sharp eyes can most probably see even now, but there's so much in this area to show you that I could literally spend hours on this image. Honestly, it's absolutely fantastic, and there's a lot of obfuscation. There's a lot of concealment going on, because I personally think that there's a city all around here. All this, I think, it is the structures and, you know, signs of artificial construction all over the place. but because of the saturated colour and the way it's been obscured, it's very difficult to see. But I'm just going to show you as much as I can glean from the images. Some, the obvious stuff I hope that you can see. Now this the main face that I want to show you here. Even now you most probably can see that it's quite clear, and it's right in the outflow channel here. I don't know if you can see that. Now what I've done is I've actually made some close-ups of it using Windows Magnifier, but I've had to put them in another window. Now this is the copies that I've made of this particular area. Now when I magnify this area, you'll see straight away what we're talking about. This is unenhanced, by the way. I haven't done anything to this image, nothing whatsoever. This is how the image is being downloaded from the ESSA website. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to show the image unenhanced but at slightly higher resolutions using the Windows magnifier. It won't be pixelated because the magnifier acts like a physical magnifier. So it's as if you're holding a magnifier over it and you're looking at the image. So what I'll do is I'll just show you the face at 200% using a magnifier. Okay, so I'm just going to go into image ready here. So this is the face here, unenhanced, no enhancements whatsoever, and just above the arrow, there's the face there. You can actually see the eyes, you can actually see the nose, you can actually see the mouth, and to me it's a black African face. I'm just going to put it into Photoshop here for 1 second. Now I'll just magnify it up again. Now can you see it there? It's about as clear as you're ever going to get. There it is there. I hope you can see that okay. Now that is using Windows Magnifier at 200%. And for the eagle eyes among you, you most probably noticed these peculiar marks, this circular area here, and there's like a sort of face here as well. Can you see that? The eye, the mouth, and then there's gouges. All these gouges that you can see, they're artificial. They've been deliberately gouged into the surface of the rock, and you can see this like Y-shaped structure here. That has been horn and cut out of the solid rock, and you could stand in the center here and walk through, and there's like an archway here, and these are structures. All these here are structures. This is all artificial. Everything you can see here is all artificial, every single bit of it. So if you just come back out of that, okay, and we'll just center that back up again there. Now if we go to this one, now this is 300%, and we're now starting to see the face a little bbit clearer. Don't forget, this is unenhanced, not a thing done to it. This is exactly how I imaged it. I'm showing you all this because I want to show you exactly how I done this. There's no Photoshop manipulation or anything. This is the original image, straight from the horse's mouth, the European Space Agency. There's the face, and next to it is the artificial structures here. You can see the 90-degree angles, and it goes into like a Y shape here, and then this is 90 degrees there. It's all, you know, it's all artificial. And this circular area seems to be very important, and it's there for a reason, not just obscure the face and, you know, put a dampener on it. It's there, it's being done by this culture for a reason. Okay, so this is at 300% on the Windows Magnifier. So if you come out to that again, and then what I've done then is I have altered, now it's enhanced, if you can call it that. I wouldn't even call it enhanced, but what I've done is I've changed the brightness and the contrast of the image, and that's what you need to do so that you can see these things, so you can see these structures and sculptures and frescoes and everything, so you can see them properly. You need to mess about with the contrast and brightness and the colours, otherwise you won't see them, because that's the way the original images were made, so that you don't see these things. Sometimes they make mistakes and they leave something in, like they've missed this area. In my view, they've missed it, but that's for our benefits, because we can now see that there were human beings on Mars in the past. So what I've actually done is placed the images in Photoshop, and I've just changed the colours very slightly, the contrast and the brightness and everything else. So let's have a little look at this one. This is quite a good one. Okay, now this is, I've put this in auto colour, and I've changed the levels on it, and I've done a few other little things just to get a little tiny bit of sharpness in the image, to bring the image out so that we can see exactly what we're looking at. Now, as you can see, you're looking at a human being sculpted into the rock. Can you see that? There's even a hint here, if you just follow the little hand, there's even a hint that it might have a helmet on. It comes out and then down. There's a 90-degree angle there. Comes out and then down. Can you see it coming down and comes in again? Now in reality, it's most probably a wall. This is carved out of, you know, just the rock and everything else. So this is where it's being carved out here. You see that? When it comes out and then down, and then you can see like a line here, and then there's a line there. Because don't forget, not only is it a sculpture, it's also consists of, there's structures within it. There's actual buildings and structures within the face. Not only are the depictions of art, which are obviously important to this culture, they were actually practical as well. All this area there, like the greenish tinge that you can see, I think these are buildings. Honestly, I think they're all buildings. All these circular features, squiggly lines, they've got, like, to me, like an artificial contour to them. See these here? I think all this is like a city. I really do. Anyway, so as you can see, a human being, a black African. So if we go on to that, I put this one in just the yellow magenta colour, the yellow magenta plate again. I think you can see it pretty clear again. All this is being obscured deliberately, by the way, and I'll show you in very shortly why I think it's being obscured. But again, you can see the face there. You can see the artificial structures here being cut into the rock. Can you see that? You see that? And with the other face here, you can see it looking down. So these two faces are joined by this circular feature. Can you see that? This face is joined to that face, which must have been very important to this culture for some reason. Okay, so if you come out of that, this one I just brightened up and just put like an orangey colour on it, and it sort of brings out the nose and the lips a little tiny bit. Can you see that? And you can see the straight lines on these a hell of a lot easier. Can you see that? The 90-degree angles. Yeah. But it's obviously a human being, obviously, and there's no way that that is natural. I don't care what anybody says, it's not natural. Coupled with the artificial structures on the left hand side of it, I think it's undisputable. I really do. That alone is proof that there was an ancient civilization on Mars. Now, if we flip this image, right, 180 degrees, so let's do that. Let's flip the image 180 degrees. Okay, so there's the face again there. So if we just go to Photoshop, okay, we don't want to register. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just rotate that image 180 degrees. Now what we can see here, this is unenhanced by the way. Okay, so this is the original as I downloaded it from the European Space Agency. I haven't done nothing to it. This here, this thick orangey colour here, is deliberate. I'm absolutely sure of it. Absolutely sure that it's deliberate, to cover whatever was carved in here, because I believe this clip face is full of carvings. Now if you just look here, you'll see a little tiny face, hopefully, but I'll magnify it in a minute for you. I'm just putting it out in general at the moment. So there's a little tiny face here, and I think all along here it was covered in faces. I'm sure of it. And this is not shadow, anything like that. It's deliberately being painted in to block, to cover up whatever was there. Here we have a head, an eye, nose, a mouth. We have an arm there, and we have an arm on the left hand side, and this is the body here. And the body is structures. I know it's very, very difficult to see. I can appreciate that, but you would have to look at the image yourself, the way I have done for hours on end, and you will see where I am coming from. This again is another face, whereas on the flip side here you've got the black African face. I think this face is Caucasian. It's quite difficult to make out, but you can see the overall impression of the face, the eye, the nose and the mouth. And again, this is where this circular artificial construction comes in. You can see that circular comes along and then it breaks out into left and right like a Y shape. Yeah, and you can go into this structure here. This is artificial. All these, you could go into them underground. But anyway, like I say, so you've got this. Now we've flipped it over. You've got this face here, and it's joined by this configuration to this head here. You see that? The way they're joined together. Again, I've no idea why. It was obviously very, very important to this culture that they portray these figures the way they are doing. But as you can see, it's not natural. Definitely not natural. And this is deliberate obfuscation, in my view. It's being painted in. You can see the way it's painted. But anyway, let's come back out of that. No, we want to save that. And still on the flip side, if you just go to this image here, I've just coloured it a little bit so you can see where I'm coming from here. Can you see that? See the face? There's the circular feet and it's joined to that, and then there's the body. Okay, there's another face here. You see that? And I'm going to show you that in close up in a minute. There's another face here looking up. There's the sculpture's faces all around this image, honestly. Now here is a close-up of that little face I was talking about. I call it the little face. Can you see it there? You see it? If I just get that. Can you see that? You can see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the mouth is open. The mouth is most probably the entrance. You could most probably stand there and walk into that mouth, and that would take you inside these structures. So if you could stand there and walk into the mouth, which would be the opening into the structures. All these are structures. And can you see the obfuscation there? Artificial. There's something here, you know, might be an opening or something, I'm not sure. There might be one there. And there's that Caucasian face there that I think is Caucasian. There's the eye, the nose, the mouth. Circular construction there, and it's joined to the head of this one. You see that? Okay, so let's come out of that. No. Now, I'm going to show you the face that was above them. I hope you can see it. Can you see that? You see the face there? You see the eye? It's a very strong nose. The mouth, and it's actually smiling. He's got a smile on his face just above the arrow there, and he's wearing some kind of hat. You see it? There's the Caucasian's face there. There's the round circular feature that's joined them to that. So there's another face there. I think it's a really clear, strong featured face. I really do. And whereas we had the black African face, I think that's the face of a Caucasian again. See? So it seemed that as on Earth, on Mars, we had every culture on Mars, the same as what we've got today. The same cultures we had thousands of years ago on the Martian surface. This one shows you the Caucasian face. I think it's Caucasian face here, where it's joined to the other one. Now there's that face again there. Can you see that? Just above the arrow, the eye, the nose. It's like carved. You can see where it's carved into the rock face. I think there's even a hint of an arm here, where there's the joint there and it comes up, and it might have, like, that might represent its hand, but I think all this is all carved, and all this here above it is a city, all carved out the rock. I really think that. And there are faces all over this image. This is just taken in yellow plate, just a single colour, single yellow. It just looks yellow because it's not mixed with the other colours, and the yellow doesn't come out. And I just think there's all these here. I think the entrances and collapse structures. But anyway, let's come away from that one now. And I think that's more or less the main components of this particular image. I've found loads of stuff right across the image, but it's very difficult to bring out. Very difficult to bring out. And I don't want you looking at it and thinking, oh no, that's just a pile of rubbish, or I can't really discern what that is. I want you to look at the image and get a good feeling about it and think, well, yeah, that is a face, or yeah, that does look like a artificial construction. I'll just go to this one again, just before I finish up, and only so that you can see. You see, I think this is very important. This is corroborating evidence that that sculpture is real. Okay, these structures here that have been cut into the rock. There's even a bridge here going across from one side to the other. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. Myself personally, I believe what I've just shown you proves that human beings existed on Mars at some time in the past, and I think that we had all different cultures who all lived together on Mars, and I like to think that we were together in the past, we're together in the present, and I really hope that we can all move together into the future and live together. And I think we'll have a fantastic future. I really do. If human beings survived the catalysm, the destruction of Mars, then we can survive anything together. Anyway guys, I really appreciate you watching this, and I appreciate the time that you're taking out to look at this video. I hope you found it interesting, and I have got others, and I hope to be publishing them very soon. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe, and then I know I'm doing something right. Thanks guys, thanks very much. See you again soon.